So what sticks in my mind, I had this really nice moment in MechWarrior Online this year, which officially released after being in beta for a while. And it's like a 12-on-12 knockout game, kind of like Counter-Strike, where you die, you get to watch the end of the match. You can leave, I guess. But you're spectating your teammates, and as is the case right now, dead teammates can actually talk to their team and give input and things like that. So there's what's called death talk. And
from beyond the grave.
I was
Ghost Mix.
I was on the volcano map Terra Firma, and I was in my Atlas, the big 100-ton, bulky, slow-moving,
Right.
heavyweight
The assault mech, right?
Yeah, heavyweight basically. And I was the last guy on my team against 3, and I had taken out these 2 sort of scout mechs that were lingering. But the last guy on the enemy team had gone to the enemy base. He was sitting there. He was capturing my point, basically he was about to win.
Not your point.
Not my point, I know. And I'm watching like our base counter sort of tick down, and I'm like my teammates are typing me in chat like, okay, no, go left instead of right, and they're like giving me input as I'm just racing there at like 50 kilometers an hour.
They're backseat driving your mech.
Which is slow. Yeah, basically. And it really brought me back to those experiences in Counter-Strike of you're the last guy alive in CS Office or something, and feeling that pressure.
You're kind of performing in a situation like that.
You've got 11 pairs of eyes on you.
Yeah.
And just that social experience of I've got to do this for my teammates.
Being the last hope.
In this case, they get experience points based on if we win or not.
Right. So there actually is some pressure on you.
Yeah, they've got something riding on me. And I wander in, I lumber into the point with like I'm losing an arm, I've lost an arm, and I take this guy out, we circle straight for a while and eventually win. But just that sort of like social experience of I care about what these people think of me, even though I may never play another match with them again. I think that's something that's quintessentially PC, honestly.
They're gonna speak of you in legend to their friends if you pull this off.
Maybe.
Which is something, like you said, is very much from Counter-Strike. Like I so remember that feeling of being like the last guy left in DE dust, and like, can I make it to the bomb without getting shot?
Yeah.
And that feeling is almost like, interestingly, sort of relates to the feeling of live streaming, which is super popular on PC.
Right.
And the fact that I feel like you do play differently when people are watching, and whenever I've live streamed something, there's a lot of pressure when you've got eyeballs on what you're doing to...
It's called performance anxiety.
Yeah. I get that in various aspects of my life, actually. And I was playing some Go this year. It didn't come out this year, but I was playing some Go, finally getting into it. And I was a little terrified the first time that happened, where it was just me, and everything's on me. I got like 2 or 3 guys to kill, and I'm hiding upstairs, and they're trying to get me to come out. They're firing sort of pot shots around the level to try to convince me that I need to get out of my hiding spot.
Right.
And they don't. And one guy finally comes up the stairs, and I get him. And then I decided to be brave and go down the stairs, and I died. But I was terrified, like, all the horror stories you hear about League of Legends, Dota 2, Counter-Strike, any kind of competitive game where it's like, oh yeah, everyone's just a jerk in the chat. And
supposedly all the communities are toxic.
Everyone's super mean to you. And to some extent, there are those bad apples who are total jerks and suck. But actually, people were rooting for me, and like, my loss wasn't me letting them down, it was our loss. It was, darn, next round. They're sitting there, they died before me, so they don't have a right to complain about my performance, right? So that was really encouraging. It's really fun to be rooted for. And that's, like, I love watching my friend Paul play Spelunky's Daily Challenge. I don't like playing Spelunky, to be honest. I like watching him play it, because it's a bunch of people, on Twitch watching in the chat, rooting for this person.
Yeah.
And
they don't want you to fail. They want you to succeed, really.
And watching someone go
die
through
in an entertaining way.
Yeah. So
right.
it's that level of like, when you're in that moment, you're kind of like Waldorf and Statler from the Muppets. Those 2 old guys in the balcony. Like, they don't really want the show to be awful, but they're the peanut gallery and they're going to judge you. Like, I love that feeling.
The analogy I use is like watching Spelunky live streams is like a Japanese game show obstacle course, where it's designed for like maximum humiliation. They've got all these rolling pins that people are clearly going to get sandwiched between and fall into muddy water.
Right.
But you're still rooting for them, even though you know that that's the outcome.
Yeah.
Is that you're going to laugh at their hilarious demise.
See, I think those are also...
But you want them to win.
That's totally a master class in how to play Spelunky, too. Or like Hearthstone. I do the same thing. Like, there's a 7-hour, like, stream of the tournament at BlizzCon for Hearthstone that I've actually been very slowly making my way through just to learn how other people are building decks and using the cards and stuff. And honestly, that's the best way to learn how to play a game like that. Spelunky's the same way. Watching the recorded daily challenges, because I'll never finish Spelunky probably. It's so hard.
Don't say that. You finished Dark Souls and you can't finish
That's
Spelunky.
true. That is true. But
Yes,
Mark Worry.
it's a tough game. But watching someone succeed in that daily challenge, like watching the person who ran through with the eggplant all the way to the end of the game.
So, like, I mean, all the stuff you guys are bringing up, all the moments you guys are bringing up are social in some way, whether it's like spectating or being spectated.
Or talking about Bioshock Infinite among friends.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool that, I don't know, we all kind of relate to and put a lot of value in those connected experiences with people and sharing stories. And I think, like, another one for me, you mentioned Counter-Strike, is, you know, CSGO went up on Steam Workshop this year, and there's been just a ton of maps coming out, and we have a server, and just like downloading a bunch of maps that look good to me and then playing them for the first time with people.
Yeah.
As we're, I remember,
that experience of discovery is really fun.
Yeah, like there's one called CS Motel. I remember the first time we played that, we were just like sorting it out, and then like we discovered the next round that the hostages were like randomly placed in these different motel rooms. Like, whoa, that's crazy, that's really cool. Like, that's why we want to play more of this, or we want to do it with only pistols or whatever. And I don't know, doing that simultaneously with other people as you're getting commentary and getting criticism about it is really cool.
Yeah. This year, I mean...
The conversations are the best.
Yeah.
For sure.
Been really excited about modding this year. I mean, it's always been strong on the PC, but Steam Workshop is coming along well, for sure.
Making it more accessible for people.
Yeah.
You know, finding good mods is becoming easier.
And especially for something...
People have always been making great mods.
Yeah.
They're out there, but now it's getting easier to actually separate the wheat from the chaff.
For something like Counter-Strike, especially when everyone has to have the same set of maps to play on your server, the fact that you can make a collection and just give that link to everyone and give them an IP address is so convenient.
Yeah.
And it just, it enables. And we're seeing mods get Steam releases. Like, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the convenience is good. I worry a little bit about, you know, Steam being this sort of singular conduit for all modding, which I hope is never the case.
I don't think it will be.
That's sort of antithetical to the nature of modding. But
there's always going to be...
Have you ever tried to download something from Nexus?
You just have recently.
Have you ever tried to download any file?
Is it fun?
I very much respect
Is there one of those
website.
timers that's like...
It's a lot of pop-up windows.
Just wait 30 seconds.
I really respect the website, but I was trying to download Skyrim mods and it just was impossible.
There's always going to be some 15-year-old kid who makes a mod for something and doesn't and puts it like somewhere random for people to find. Like, there's always going to be that opportunity. I'm not worried about only ever finding mods in one place. Because the fact that people can take these tools and build something really cool, they'll put them wherever they want. Mm-hmm. Like, that openness is really key to it.
We had some good moments in ARMA this year.
Ooh. We did.
In ARMA 3. Speaking of, like,
Thank you for teaching me how to play ARMA.
Oh, you're
teaching me how to ARMA.
You're welcome.
Man, that is just another engine for, like, unbelievable co-op fun, right? And I get it now, because when I always had this thought of ARMA as another big, like, 64 player, like, people going head to head. It's just a military shooter, but what it really is an engine where you can jump in with a bunch of your friends and just do amazing things, right? Mm-hmm. People rescuing, you know, people dropping smoke and using a helicopter to come in and rescue someone who's downed and stuff like that. The moment we had when we were defending a big base and you were holding off one side and I had to go over to, like, a downed Jeep that had, like, a big, like, mini cannon on it, mm-hmm. and I'm, like, sniping enemies, you know, advancing towards us in the distance with night vision. You're, like, saying, no, Corey, hit the button for night vision. Like, that was both heroic and also like incredibly goofy on my part.
That's the perfect balance of ARMA. I think it's the absurdity and the seriousness, and like a little bit of role playing that is practical and meaningful.
Yeah. And I totally discounted the goofy side of it. I didn't think it was going to be goofy.
Oh,
I thought
God,
it was
it's
too
serious.
It's
Alpha
too
Bravo.
hardcore.
It's plentiful.
10 o'clock.
It's
Yeah.
plentiful.
What an amazing engine. And it looks so good, ARMA 3 now. Like, it looks gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's cool, I think, that, as Evan brought up earlier, all our stories are about sort of emergent things that happened socially, but also about systems-based games that make interesting things happen. None of us are saying, like, oh, that moment in Bioshock Infinite. Not that there weren't great moments, but I think we like talking about that stuff more than, that stuff blows away. Like, I think one of my best moments involves Evan in kind of a roundabout way, not directly, not socially, but Major Evan Lottie was a fine soldier.
Oh, this is an XCOM story.
An enemy within.
I already know how this ends.
Well, this is before you died.
We'll get to that.
But it was a fiery death. I apologize.
Fiery.
How would that happen? None of the enemies use fire. Well,
Used oh man.
That's not how it
have you
works.
ever heard of friendly fire? This is that literally. But before that, there was this great moment where I was kind of like, I had so many stats on you, Gene mods. I was kind of forgetting what abilities you had. I'm saying you as if it was actually you.
It was really you.
I have all kinds of DNA inside me.
And I botched this one mission. I had a lot of injured soldiers. I hadn't been recruiting. I hadn't been diversifying who I sent out.
Mm-hmm.
So it was you and like 4 rookies. All the rookies died. And I'm thinking this mission is over.
You're supposed to lead them to victory and teach them your ways.
He sent me to war with XCOM interns.
They all panicked and like ran away and got shot. So it's you left. I've got you in cover. You don't have a whole lot of health. And there's one muton left. And it does something I don't expect. It's like, it's kind of around this building. You can't actually see it. I know it's there. And I'm thinking, I'm not thinking it's going to come over to this area. I'm thinking I'm going to have to take Evan to it to kill it. Mm-hmm. But it comes around the corner and is totally like almost point blank range with Evan. And I
This is
know
the moment Evan lives for.
it's going to take 2 shots to take that muton down. And Evan can only shoot once. And after Evan shoots, I know on the next turn the muton is going to kill him. So I take the shot, you hit, you take out half its health, and then I'm just like, okay, next turn I failed this mission. But instead of firing right away, the muton decides to get closer to you. You had the close combat specialist upgrade,
Yeah.
which gives you a free shot
Within 4 squares.
within
I think.
4 squares, even
Wow.
without Overwatch on, and you take the shot and kill it.
That's
mission over.
heroism.
And I have this screenshot somewhere of you just standing alone as the only survivor of this mission, just looking all
That's a
beaten
metaphor.
down.
That's a metaphor for the PC Gamer office, actually. It's exactly how it ends up working.
Soul Survivor.
Soul
Survivor
Survivor.
is
Because
like-
Tyler and I went to lunch.
Yeah.
And you're just left there.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
But yeah, that kind of brilliant, I don't know, that just emergent stuff that happens, that storytelling, when we create stories in games. Even when I'm playing Counter-Strike, I'm creating kind of a story about how I'm the last guy standing, and
Right.
it's
Ownership.
ownership
That's what
over
it is. I mean,
your
that's,
experience.
that's the
and-
big difference. I think ownership just intrinsically creates a higher value story.
Oh,
Because it's
absolutely.
yours, or just your squad's, and only you had that, and no one else is going to have that story
Yeah.
again.
I mean, we can talk all about how we interpreted Bioshock Infinite, but we all experienced the same objective series of events. Whereas nobody had Evan Lottie's, incredible comeback kill, and nobody had your MechWarrior experiences, and that's awesome. I like the way PC gaming is going.
Mm-hmm.